watch collecting, and that's what this is. My name is Dave King. On my left, Mr. Craig Hester is here with me. Craig, good to see you.
Good to see you. Pleasure
now,
to work with you.
We were talking earlier about the show, and Craig happens to be the CEO and president, founder of a watch company called Detente. Yep. Now, if you're not familiar with watch collecting and you think to yourself, Detente, Detente. It takes me back to a time when the United States and Russia didn't get along so much, and they used that term a great deal. Let's talk about the history of your company and the timepieces that you bring to this show.
Detente, for those of you who don't know what it means, it does mean the warming of relations between nations. And it was commonly used, especially in the era of Reagan and Gorbachev, when we were starting to have better relations with the former Soviet Union. You had asked me earlier how I got into this. I will just quickly say, I get asked that all the time. My wife and I had a Russian foreign exchange student about 15 years ago, and she gave me a Russian watch as a gift. Years later, I bought a Russian watch, and I liked them so much I ended up buying that company and then starting this distributorship.
Right,
so,
which is awesome. That's a great story, yes.
So,
but
again,
I
love it.
And what's so cool about these, you've never seen anything like this, unless you've been watching Shop NBC.
Right.
We're about to present timepieces that you absolutely have never seen. If you're a collector, you cannot be more excited than I am right now. This one is just back in stock. It's sold out the last time it was on the air. This is the Gaz 14 Limo, the men's mechanical automatic strap watch. All these fabulous timepieces have great stories to go along with them. We'll explain those stories to you as well, and you'll be able to share them with your friends and family or to whom you give this beautiful timepiece. It is J179306. And right off the beginning, you look at it, you say, wow, I've never seen anything like that, and you probably haven't. 3 value pays of $93.08. Again, just back in stock. The value pays and the price are valid only for today. You've not seen this one since April of this year. Let's talk about this one, Craig.
Well, this is Vostok Europe, which is based in Vilnius, Lithuania. This is a true Russian piece in that the movement in it is built by the Vostok company of Chistopol, Russia, which is a different company than Vostok Europe. It has a proprietary timepiece, a proprietary movement in it, only built for Vostok Europe. Vostok Europe is the only Eastern European watch manufacturer, and the watches are all hand-assembled there in Vilnius, Lithuania. And this one, named for the Gaz Limo, every one of Vostok Europe's watches has a story.
Right.
And they actually start with the story and then build the watch around it. They don't build a watch and then say, okay, well, what are we going to call this one? How it works is the owner of the company, Igor Zawadzki, he goes to his designers and says, I want to build a watch around the Gaz Limo. Which the Gaz Limo was the limousine that Brezhnev drove. Actually drove Nixon around Red Square in that. And that actually looks like the clock that was in the dashboard. Now, since we only have 2 minutes, and I actually took this watch apart and I have to put it together for next hour, I want to show this, make sure we show this. This has a secondary time zone.
Right.
Okay.
It's
it has
a dual
an interior rotating bezel that gives you the secondary time zone with that other hand that's on there. I wanted to show this was built exclusively by, if they can get in close right here where I am, let me turn the other way. There we go. Oh, perfect. Right. You see how that turns?
Yes.
They built this mechanism from the ground up. What's happening here is as that internal rotating bezel turns, you see those little dimples?
Yes.
They lock into place. So unlike a lot of things that have a secondary time zone, which is an internal rotating bezel that kind of stays loosey-goosey,
sure.
Once you put the Gaz Limo one in position, it stays in position. And that is a special mechanism that they actually built from the ground up at Vostok Europe.
There you go. So again, we're talking about something that you're not going to see anywhere else. It is a dual time zone piece, $279.25. Extraordinarily done, handmade, J179306. In terms of the dimensions on it, I'm sorry, babe? We only have 1 dozen of these available, just back in stock since April. April 1st, it's sold out. We only have 1 dozen of these available as we speak. It's 43 millimeter, but it does wear larger than that because of the dual crowns. Yep. So it appears to be larger than 43 millimeter. I'm going to go ahead and measure it for you and show you that it's just over. We're going to zoom in and get that shot. Just over 1 3/4 inches.
Yeah, and just a beautiful piece. The dial pops. They do great dial work. It's just, you know, and you've got that dual time feature on it. And again, it's a proprietary movement. It's just a fantastic timepiece.
And no one in your neighborhood is going to have it. If you're a collector, you're going to be so excited to have.
That's
It
true.
feels good. It really does. Feels great on your wrist. Looks good too. All right, J409 is next. J409703 from Vostok Europe. This is the men's N1 Rocket limited edition automatic bracelet watch. Now, if you are a trivia guy like I am, you're going to think to yourself, okay, the N1 Rocket. I think I remember an N1 rocket.
Well, the N1 rocket is the world's largest rocket. It was built to put a Russian cosmonaut on the moon. We know that didn't happen.
Right.
But it doesn't mean they didn't build a really cool rocket.
Right.
And actually, the very earliest versions of the Vostok Europe watches, one of the earliest ones they ever built was an N1 rocket. This is a more recent version with a bigger case and a little more aggressive look than the earlier ones. What's special about this one? Why do you want this particular version, and why is it $439? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, that is a true 7-link bracelet there. That is not a pressed bracelet. That is a true 7-link bracelet, and it is solid in links, not fold over. It could not. That is just a beautiful, beautiful, extremely well-built bracelet. The second thing that this one has is this is the first N1 rocket to ever have the Tritium tube technology. What is the Tritium tube technology? That gives you the constant illumination. If you look there on the positions on the chapter ring, you'll see those little tubes, and I actually have a tube. We can show the actual tube and everything. They are filled with a substance called tritium and an illumination material. The tritium activates the illumination, and it can last up to 25 years. The maker of the tubes, MB Microtech, guarantees at least 10. What is beautiful about this is you don't have to charge the watch up under a UV lamp or in the sun to get your illumination.
Right.
If you go to bed at night and you put this on your dresser, if it's one that's super luminova, you know that by morning it's going to have faded and you're not going to see it.
Exactly.
You put this on your dresser, whatever time of night you look at it, it's going to have the exact same illumination. That's the beauty of tritium tubes. But it's not an inexpensive process. That's part of what adds to the cost of any of the watches with the tritium tubes. It's very expensive to build these because you are dealing with these little tiny glass tubes that are small enough to fit on hands and dials of a watch. So this is the first time we've had the N1 rocket with the tritium tube technology. It's also a 200-meter diver. Everything stem to stern on this watch is 100% custom. That's another thing about Vostok Europe. They don't take anything off the shelf. They don't go to the watch fairs and say, I'll take that case
and put it
that
together.
bracelet. They start and build everything from scratch. Again, there you see the dual deployant clasp on this.
That's my personal favorite. I love that. Also,
I love the look on this one, that
too.
matte finish. Now, just so everybody knows, that's not titanium. Some people have asked me, boy, that looks like titanium. It isn't. It is stainless steel. But the way they did the finishing on this, you would swear that was a titanium watch.
You really would. And it does look like titanium, but it is not.
It is not.
Mentioned before.
Just so we make sure that that's clear, so I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. It is stainless steel, but the way they did it, and I love that dial. It is a beautiful dial combination. I think that dial works so great with that, with the way they matted that case.
It is, and you just don't see anything like this anywhere. Nice savings on this one, 24% savings on the regular price. It is J409703, your choice of, again, the stainless and the black. You're looking at it and you're saying it doesn't look stainless, it is that matte finish. Again, to your point, this bracelet is spectacular.
Oh, it really is. The bracelet alone, if you walked into a jewelry store and tried to just buy that bracelet, you're going to spend some bucks.
Yes.
Just on a replacement bracelet, especially if you're talking about anything you're going to be putting on a Swiss watch. And some of the other things about this watch, just to talk about the quality of it, I'm going to give you the case of another, it's a slightly different case because this is a polished.
Okay.
But feel that crystal. This is a 4mm crystal on this watch, 4 millimeters thick. There is absolutely nothing in this watch that isn't top quality.
Right.
This is the movement holder. Now, the movement holder on this watch is surgical grade stainless steel. Nobody even sees that. It's inside the watch. It's not even an exhibition case back on this.
But they chose to go with surgical grade steel.
And why? Because they wanted this to be a true 200-meter diver and not just a sport watch, so that everything is quality. And getting back to what I was saying earlier, it's all custom. And you mentioned earlier how this looks different than other watches.
Right.
Part of what makes this look so different is they have real Eastern European and Russian designers. They're not so they're starting from that point of view.
That really is everything. When you start from that point of view, you do things differently, you make them differently, and they have really sacrificed nothing. You know, there are a lot of corners that they could have cut when they made this amazing timepiece, that they chose not to do so. $439.73. It's outstanding in terms of the way that it looks. Now, the silver tone that I happen to have in my wrist is the more limited of the two.
That's my favorite.
It is my favorite as well.
I mean, I really like the red and black combination, and that's kind of a classic look. But that silver tone with that gray dial is an unusual and striking look. In fact, that's one I've been meaning to put in my own collection. I haven't yet.
J4097.